That's Mo
What's
meta.
up, sassy gamers? Today is February 17th, 2022, and this is Got Our Attention Podcast, Season 2, Episode 36. Almost to that 52, a little halfway at least. How are you guys doing?
Nailed it.
Oh, I'm also here with Brian, Bruno, and Kelly.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
Squad.
Squad.
Assemble.
Gang, gang.
Yeah, it's not been an exciting week, I'll say. It's been kind of quiet with mostly everything, which is kind of strange. But, you know, it is that time of the year, I guess, where we're still waiting for things to release, like, you know, Steam Decks, like end of the month. Can't wait to get that and then head to PAX with it. So
Horizon
I can lose it.
Tonight, pretty much.
Now,
is that released tonight then?
Midnight.
Ah, I see what you're doing tonight.
I'm not actually, because of Lost Ark. I was supposed to play Horizon and Elden Ring in the next week, and I canceled buying either of them because I'm enjoying Lost Ark that much. So.
That's something we will talk about later.
Serious.
I've also been playing Lost Ark, which I said I probably wouldn't. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So,
well, actually, it's an interesting thing that you even mentioned the Stream Deck, because by mentioning it,
Steam Deck.
you have Steam Deck. Sorry, yes, Steam. This is a Stream Deck.
Yeah, I may have said that, but
no,
that's not what I meant.
But by mentioning the Steam Deck, you actually identify that you don't have one. Because those that got the early Steam Decks for review purposes are still under NDA, and they're only allowed to say certain things at this point in time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not. They haven't sent me anything. I don't think Steam even knows
Listen,
relatively what side of the sun I'm on
don't
right
know
now.
who Zycia is. We need to
Media
correct this
insider?
immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, you are known from coast to coast. You are known in other countries.
Yeah,
They
weird.
should be
That's
sending
true.
you
This
a
is
Steam Deck. I mean,
Well,
now granted,
either way.
you're not
Facts.
big enough. You're not big enough to get a free one. You'd probably still have to pay for it, but you should be getting an
should
early
get
preview
one.
copy.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm going to be having one by the end of the month, so, or at least what they say. We'll see if everything pairs up. But yeah,
It
I'm excited
depends
about
on
that.
what part of
It'll
the
be fun.
line you're in, but
That's the thing too. I thought I got onto it pretty quick that morning, but I mean, that quick, how
That's
quick
what
is
he
that?
said.
Like, a lot of people sit in line in queues like that, so who knows? But yeah, that'll be some entertaining, interesting stuff coming up, so we'll see. Anyway, Kelly, take us to Kelly's Corner.
Let's mosey this way. All right.
I thought I was
I feel
going
like
to
we're in
go
Hawaii today. Like, in luau.
Yeah. I'm going this way,
Been
guys.
watching Moana too much.
Yes. I'm shining. So I think I have probably, if not our last
Nope, it's not going to be our last.
report,
Just
it's
stop.
it's at least the second to last report.
You have to treat this like I did the Cyberpunk news updates, where you just don't say this is the last one. Just
That's
do
true.
it because
It won't be.
it won't go
Next
away.
week. Next week, you're going to have to talk about how much fun you had playing Wordle.
Yes.
No, that's an actual thing. It's
I
a
know.
four-way Wordle.
I know. I'm
Are
gonna.
you sure that's not something what women do? Like courted? No. Okay. Courtal.
No.
I don't know where you're going with that one.
Yeah,
that was
I
not
think
good.
that was
Like a court?
And a
Isn't that-
miss.
yeah. Right.
I mean, it is
So
me,
Wordle. I'm sure y'all are getting sick of hearing about it. I'm almost sick of reporting about it.
Nope.
No, Kelly, tell me more about this game that I'm awesome at.
As he pulls out his earbuds.
Yeah. So I found an article, and Mike actually brought this to my attention too.
Because I keep poking you every time I see something with that. I have to like,
Yes.
hey, read this. Hey,
Right?
read this.
Hey, this is a great, and I was like, oh, so this is happening. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna, just ignore that and not research it. And then it like pops up in my feed, and I'm like, okay, fine. So we had talked about how you can download the web page for Wordle, the original web page for Wordle, and you should have all the Wordle fun daily for the next 5 years without having to go through a potential paywall. Because everything was on the actual website. You just literally download the website and it's like, what day is it? Oh, well, here's your word. We even sent out a tweet. Here are the instructions. Well, then the New York Times, literally the next day, took control. It was the New York Times URL. And on Tuesday, everybody started playing Wordle. And people who were playing against each other saying, oh, that was really hard. Oh, I can't believe. And I'm not going to spoil anything because it was a Tuesday word. Some people got aroma. Some people got agora. And it's because agora, I'll get to that. So people got two different words, right? And it was because some people were either using the downloaded Power UK, whatever old site it was, or the New York versus the New York Times site. So if you were playing on the old version, Agora, which I have feelings about this word, then you got Agora, and then if, let's say, your significant other or a friend that you play against was playing on the New York Times website, they got Aroma. And people kind of started connecting the dots really early on. So if your PC or your phone cached the old website, that's another way that you could have potentially gotten a different word using the other website. Well, the New York Times reported that they were going to, or announced that they were going to get rid of some words. Words that were the use of some words, like racist words, just downright inappropriate. Some of the words that they got rid of included, according to this Kotaku article,
beep, terms of service. Beep, terms of service. Beep.
So, sorry. And I'm looking forward to saying this. One of them was so they got rid of gendered slurs and then other phrases like other
which
genitalia.
Also, by the way, being that it was a UK guy and a UK site, that word is not used or mean the same thing in UK as it is here.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that was included in the version that we played. Weird.
Yes.
Yeah. To them, that's a perfectly normal way to refer to a cat.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
No. Yeah. So I got to say it again. Agora was another one. Pupil was one. Agora was another one. And Agora, the Kotaku article points out,
should I be bleeping this out?
I don't know. No, this part you don't have to worry about. It is reference to a public square in ancient Greece cities. Okay. Personally, there's no way I would have guessed agora. That is not a word that
I've never even heard of that word until you said it.
I would not have even thought to use agora, to be perfectly honest. So totally agree with them getting rid of that. I would have been.
So that's why they took it, because it's not something that us Americans are smart enough to know about.
Maybe. Right. Yeah, maybe.
We call that they got rid town of it, though. Square.
Yeah. And that ain't 5 letters. So glad they got rid of that one. But some of these other words that, I have used, and I will tell you as of today, they said they got rid of stuff. They're taking other things into consideration. FYI, even as of today, you can still use. So that is still a word in there. Don't ask me how I know that. So if you are playing I'll call it now the old version, you may have different correct answers at the end of the day. So heads version. Up there. Yeah. The what?
So
the woke version.
So I didn't necessarily want to put this as a news article because I didn't want to go too deep into this. But did you hear how Wordle actually saved a grandma who had been kidnapped?
No.
So
tell us.
This grandma.
Step into my corner.
Right? She liked playing Wordle a lot. And she's like, I think she was like 80 something, right?
Can you actually like it playing it a lot and it hasn't been out that long? Like,
yeah, her granddaughter did not see her grandmother post her daily Wordle score. And she was extremely worried about it. And she actually got the police involved and got over there and found out what had happened was a man had broken through her window in the middle of the night.
No.
Kelly, you don't even know 1/100th of this yet. Waking up the grandma to find this man naked and bleeding on her floor, who had a like knife or something in his hand, who initially got into bed with her and said, "I won't hurt you." Then followed her around the house, right? Followed her around the house with a knife, forcing her to like get all the knives out and put them in an area and unplug all the phones and everything. Wait for it. This is where it gets really bad. And I'm glad they caught this guy. And the nice thing is he's terrorizing her. Not a nice thing, but that's at least as far as it went.
No, but this is where it gets really bad. It's fine up until now. It's just fun and games.
He then forced her to get into a warm bath with him.
Oh, fuck no. Oh, fuck no.
I was right, though, wasn't I, Bruno? This is where it gets really bad. But fortunately, the cops got there and saved her. And fortunately, nothing worse than that happened. But that's traumatizing enough, I am sure. There's no way you're going to ever forget that.
2 people in a tub, less volume of water required, realistically.
Yeah, but they
Plus,
probably
it was
took
cut
longer.
from the broken glass.
Yeah,
Dude,
You're right.
seriously
Extra
had some
fluids
problems.
inside of the bath. The blood will account for at least a certain portion of it.
Not okay. Oh,
so wait, he collected all the knives.
But-
He had to collect all the knives in one location, and then was like, "Okay, now leave the knives there, and let's go take a bath."
Yes, pretty much.
Guess.
But Wordle
That's one hell of a
saved
date.
the day.
Oh, that's an awful date. Yeah, and like
It's an awful date. That ranks up there on the worst dates ever.
the cops bust in. They're like, "Hey, Nana, are you okay?" And the dude's like, "Don't worry, they're just here with the bubble bath." Like, okay, it's everything's
Dude's gonna have
fine.
such a
They brought the
weird
champagne
time.
and strawberries.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining him trying to explain that when he's in prison, and they're like,
Like-
"What are you in here for?" And he's like, "Try to take a bath with an old lady."
I'm fairly certain that he's not going to prison.
Scrub my back. Yeah, I think that we're dealing with a mental health issue here. And
Yeah.
I'm just glad that they are both okay.
Yes.
Because
No,
that
I mean,
could
as
have
okay
ended
as you could be coming out the other
horribly.
side of that.
Oh no, he killed
Yeah,
her.
that's true. You're such a dick.
Not funny.
That is wild, though. That is
That is wild.
one of the craziest real stories, I guess, that I've ever heard. So, yeah.
Unless
was
I
gonna
was
be
totally
like-
fooled by a satire site,
She was
which,
just gonna be
I
like
didn't
this
check my
really-
sources.
like one of those grandmas is a Spitfire, and she's gonna be like, "I'm not getting in the bath with you unless you can solve this Wordle in 3 words or less." And the dude's like, "I'm not giving you a choice." And she's like, "I don't know. I'm not giving you one. So here's the phone. 3 words. You fail, you get out. I'm just saying."
I have one guess left. Better
You're
be
at 2,
right.
buddy. You're at 2, son. Don't mess this one up, or I'm pulling the plug.
So it's posted on the Guardian website along with a few others. So I would say it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones.
It's pretty freaking crazy.
Washington Post. Yeah, it's legit.
Man.
If you believe in those people.
I wish I'd come across that one first. Man, that would have been a really great.
Intense.
Thank you for adding that into Kelly's Corner. Thank you.
No, it's in baths.
You are welcome.
Yeah. It's not intense. It's in baths. Well done, Bruno. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. The last one I have for you, though, is something that I will be presenting to my husband later because he is deathly afraid of snakes. We've talked about this before. So anytime I see an article about snakes, I get really excited and send it to him.
You're terrible.
I am an awful human being. You heard it here first. I mean, if you hadn't already guessed. So there is a airline called Air Asia. Air Asia was leaving from Kuala Lumpur to Tawau. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Man, I wish I'd have known how to pronounce this first.
I know. You don't know how to pronounce it now either.
I should have just.
I was going to say, even pronouncing it second, you would have been happy.
Yeah. Both in Malaysia. And this person notices, the like lights, like there's the luggage rack, but like there's a panel over here and it's got light. Well, he notices, hopefully I won't get in trouble for this one, there are some mother snakes on this plane. And this thing is just hanging out, posted on, this is a TikTok post. Still not sure if the post is from somebody who was actually there or who was just sent the video, but they landed, and apparently this isn't like the first time that this happened.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is not a completely, it's a rare occurrence, but it's not completely uncommon.
You never heard of plane snakes before?
I've seen the movie.
They're on like the endangered species list. That's why you rarely ever see them. We've like wiped them out in the United States, so they only exist in like Asia, really.
Well, we caught one on video then.
Yeah, Snakes on a Plane was actually a documentary about the eradication of plane snakes.
Awesome. I missed that part of the movie. I must have fallen asleep.
Samuel L. Jackson's a big advocate, actually, of the foundation for Snakes on a Plane.
Yes.
True. He's just been trying to get those snakes back on a plane. Years now.
No idea.
God, it's probably, I don't know for a fact, but it's probably one of the first movies that had a line inserted into it because of internet demand.
I thought it existed before.
Well, no, the line that he says, the line that you quoted wasn't in the script. And they put it in there because everybody found out that Samuel L. Jackson was in this. And they're like, oh my God, I can't wait until he says something like blah. And it gained a lot of traction on the internet and they put it into the movie.
Can't wait till Samuel L. Jackson becomes Samuel L. Jackson in this movie.
Right?
What's my wallet say? What's written on? Oh, man.
Thanks for hanging out in my corner.
All right,
cool.
Well, till next week.
Well, moving on to the news. So tried to give you some time there. Well, Bowser's in the news again. And I'm sure everybody knows Bowser. You know, the ambulatory, large dinosaur.
No,
spikes on his
shell.
Not that Bowser, Brian.
Wait,
it's not that one.
But it says Nintendo's Bowser.
Yeah, not that one.
Oh, okay.
The other Nintendo
so Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo America, who took over from Reggie Fils-Aimé in 2019.
Yeah. Okay,
that's a coincidence, though, that Bowser works for the company who makes Bowser.
Right. But that's not the right Bowser. It's the other Bowser. The other Bowser.
Oh, you mean the jacktard that worked with some companies on trying to create emulators are legal, but he created cracks and everything that were borderline and then hosted ROM sites until Nintendo asked him to stop. That's Gary Bowser.
Oh, Gary.
They're all related.
And actually, we have reported on this before. Gary Bowser, we talked about in the past, how he got busted. He worked with Team Executor, and it let people run pirated games on their Nintendo Switch consoles. So Nintendo, of course, had asked him to stop. They kind of stopped for a little bit. He went back and did it again, apparently. So they sued him. Well, finally, all the lawsuits are over, and he agreed to pay $4.5 million in restitution to Nintendo.
$4.5 million?
Yeah. Then the court ordered him to pay another $10 million more.
That's a lot of that's a lot of coin.
And apparently,
bing, bing.
apparently Bowser's going to be going to jail too. So Mario should be very happy about that. He's not going to have to worry about it for a long time.
What are we going to do now? We have no Mario games
I
coming
think
out.
40 months, something like that.
Yeah, it's 40 months. Is he just going to retire then? Or is he just Mario? Like, is he not going to?
Oh, like he's
Mario.
done. Like his nemesis is going away for 40 months.
Yeah.
No, he's gonna go and just enjoy his time with Princess Peach because now I don't have to worry about her being in another castle. 40 months. I mean, that's good.
He's like Tom
But
Brady.
once he gets out,
He's just
he's
going
gonna
to
have to make up for
retire.
lost time. That's like a kidnapping a month at least.
At least. Maybe you can share a bath.
Or he might start stalking Doug Bowser.
Yes.
To Mario, Bowser's a Bowser is a Bowser, pretty much. And like, considering we're batting 2 out of 3 of the Bowsers are bad.
Yeah, maybe you're onto something here. Maybe there's an investigation there that we should do some investigation journalism.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No.
He's gonna be on the he's gonna be on the podium. And he's gonna like do like the Scooby Doo and lift his head off. And he's actually Bowser.
He's going to totally Scooby Doo it because it's gonna be Bowser pulls it off and it's Doug Bowser who pulls it off and it's Gary Bowser. You know.
And then he pulls it off again. He's like, actually, I'm Toad.
Yeah.
No,
I'd believe
Luigi.
No, it's Toad. Toad's definitely
Luigi. Yeah.
It'd be totally Luigi.
Because Luigi and
totally
Mario are
on
just going to
Team
both be
Toad.
confused. I'm like, it's been Toad? What if it was Peach?
What if it was Yoshi, man? I think it's probably Yoshi. He's been too innocent this whole time.
Innocent. That poor guy is picked on so much. First of all, Mario punches him in the back of the head.
Yeah. Poor Yoshi.
And
I
drops
know.
him in the sky.
Yeah. Yoshi. Poor Yoshi. He's like, now's my time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For all those times in the Mario Maker levels where the only way to progress is to jump off of Yoshi in the middle of a chasm and he goes falling to his death.
Poor Yoshi.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
You don't know. Maybe there's like a prequel we haven't seen yet and Yoshi's actually a monster.
Or
This is
maybe
his
there's
atonement.
also a large pillow underneath the screen that we don't see when they fall. So they actually
No, I
don't
think
die.
Mario turned him into a monster.
Yeah, I think there's more some like animal abuse thing happening here. Yeah, that's where I'm
What
going.
if he used to like eat decent, upstanding citizens and now Mario's like, no.
pulled all
You'll
his
only
teeth
eat my
out?
enemies now.
Yeah, maybe that's what the little saddle thing is. It's like a controlling thing to make sure he doesn't
Yeah.
eat people.
Yeah,
Not
he's like out on
outside the
parole.
realm of possibility.
Mario's
Rumble,
actually a correction officer and Bowser's an escapee. He's finally going back to prison.
Yeah, his community
have-
service is working with Mario.
Totally
We have just
sidetracked.
rewritten the story.
What? No, we're still talking about Bowser and Mario and Nintendo. Well, speaking of Nintendo, someone decided. Now, this isn't necessarily a new thing, but the way this guy did it was big enough and people noticed enough that people are finally starting to take notice. The concept of this has actually been around since 2014. But this one gentleman decided to show how easy it was to pretend to be a Nintendo insider leaking secrets, basically being the bad Bowser. And so there was this Twitter account that after the Nintendo Direct, people started noticing, oh, this guy made all these correct predictions. And it was legit because all the timestamps were like February 7th before the Nintendo Direct. And, it's like,
I love
he's
this
like,
article so much.
like Wii Sports is back, and all and just nailing all and he claimed to be someone who was inside Nintendo and that had, was leaking all this stuff. The interesting thing is several news sites picked up on this and they're like, oh yes, got to be an insider. He's got to be someone who like either saw the deck for, the Nintendo Direct being, in production, or is, somewhat related and there was able to get all, and they like a lot of news sites were fully brought into this. And the nice thing is then, they continued tweeting out and they were like saying other things coming up that people were interested in that we're hoping were going to be true. It was at Waddle D Knows. Waddle D is apparently a nemesis or an enemy of Kirby. If I have that correct, I might have that slightly incorrect, but
yep, that is.
So interestingly enough, though, none of it was like he was like Breath of the Wild 2 is not shown, and they will show you petting a dog in Breath of the Wild 2. LOL. Like he has all these different things that ended up being correct in the Direct. Some other things weren't correct, but how he did it is he made all these tweets on February 7th. He made a tweet for everything he thought might happen in the Nintendo Direct, but he kept his account
genius
in private mode so no one could see it. Then the Nintendo Direct happened.
Well, so go ahead.
Yeah,
the Nintendo Direct happened. Yeah.
He tweeted out everything he could think of, whether he thought it was true or not, just everything.
A whole bunch of junk. Like a whole bunch of random
because he was
stuff.
like, Breath of the Wild 2 is not shown. Breath of the Wild 2 is shown, And so the Nintendo Direct happened. So now he knows what actually happened. And he went out back and deleted all the wrong answers.
He could delete to his heart's content because
it was private.
It was still private. Oh, I love it.
So then he makes the account non-private. He then uses a fake account to like make some like posts on it. And he also goes to a couple places like Reddit and a couple other areas. And with another fake account goes, oh my God, it's uncanny how correct this guy was. And other things like that.
Can you believe it?
And there were people that were skeptical even at that point, but there was enough people who caught on to it and went out and then retweeted and made comments and everything else like that. And he did this in like just no time at all. And he actually was going to wait longer before because he did this as an experiment. He always was intending to tell everybody what he did. And he was going to wait several days before actually coming clean. But that's when, these big news outlets started picking up on it and he's like, oh, well, this has gone a little far. And he stopped. He said, okay, hold on. This whole thing's fake. It was just an experiment to show how easy it is in today's internet with no hacking, nothing super fancy, just being clever of
using the resources available to you.
Yeah. Becoming a fake insider and gathering, like he ended up getting a whole bunch of subscription or followers and a whole bunch of people retweeting and stuff like that. And it's just, nope. The whole thing was fake from the beginning.
Yep. That's amazing. I thought that was genius. He did do create a YouTube video of like the whole thing. So we will repost that in Twitter. It was awesome.
That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. So maybe awesome. And this is pretty quick, but there's a new announcement for a new game movie coming out. So, new game movie. We just saw Halo has a new series. We actually just saw, Lord of the Rings isn't really a game, became a game, but whatever. It's got a new series.
It's got plenty of games.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a game first. But anyway, so now BioShock has been announced that they're actually making a movie out of this. So Netflix, of course, because they need to grow their catalog, has actually announced that they are going to be filming the BioShock movie. They partnered with Take-Two Interactive, but there's not really been anything else really said other than the fact that they're making it. So that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I think it'd be cool, but at the same time, it just depends on how Netflix does it, because some of the stuff they put out's not the greatest. But hey, I'm still a fan, even if, like I said before with Halo, it's like, if it's still a game movie, that's still cool, because like that's mainstream now, which is wild. So
totally crazy.
Kind of backing up a step or two to the Lord of the Rings series that's coming out. A lot of people have seen, and if you haven't seen this, you should go watch it. The kind of the teaser trailer of it, where they just showing the sign being made, right? They show like molten metal going down in these grooves and sparks and blah blah blah, and you should go watch it, because if you watch it, it's going to be screaming in your head CGI. This is just, they're doing great CGI here. It's interesting because it's all practical effects, or at least 99% practical effects. And there's a little bit of CGI on the smoke, maybe on the end, but the metal going through that, they actually used real metal.
What?
They have this steam that goes off of it, and they did that by actually pouring water across the hot metal. And they show the water going across it, and they do it in slow-mo. Now they do some camera trickery, which isn't CGI. They had what is believed to be a camera shot of the metal while it was glowing hot. And they superimposed that underneath when the water was going across, so they could have a glow coming through the water a little bit. Some people suspect it was that way, but you should go check it out. It's pretty amazing that they made this giant ass sign out of like sand and metal and everything else for the Lord of the Rings series coming up.
Interesting.
Jeez.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
This week, I think probably one of the bigger things that was mentioned was from Microsoft. So the president, Brad Smith, kind of shed some light on, and he was very careful about how he worded this. He specifically said, if essentially the acquisition does hold and go through, that they intend to essentially scrutinize a little bit more intensely the entire executive staff, or the staff in general of Activision Blizzard, in order to, their ideal scenario would be that before the company even officially becomes a part of Microsoft, that the members of Activision Studios are already taking strides at correcting or expediting the correction of the more toxic culture that's going on at Activision, in order to bring it in line with what Microsoft is already doing. And he also mentioned like he doesn't think that there's like an end game, like where like they're done. He was like, you're never done with this. We feel like it's an ever evolving thing, and that, you know, if you ever say like, oh, we've done it, we've succeeded, then you've actually just failed. Yeah. So the way that he worded it was almost a very careful way of saying we expect people to shape up or get out. Like, because they need to either match the direction of the studio and a better culture, or they need to not be part of it whatsoever. Which kind of falls in line with the fact that, you know, the general, I don't even think it's a rumor anymore, I think it's a fact, Bobby is going to be gone once the merger has concluded, or the acquisition has concluded.
Not expected to stay.
Yeah, so
well, there's no way they would keep him around.
A clean house.
There's no way.
There's just no way. I mean, Microsoft, with the stature that the company has at this point and the respectability, there's just no way that he could stay along with any of the other people. It'll be interesting to see
who they hire.
Very, very curious. But I feel like Bobby Kotick is literally just sticking around as a big F you.
Yeah. Well, he's just going to try to get paid.
Some sort of that mess up contractual obligation that
he's probably sticking around because he wants to leave, but if he quits, he forfeits something. And Microsoft and Activision both like, we're not paying you out your contract for firing you early. You're going to sit there and be like a lame dog until your days are over, and then you're gonna get out, and we're gonna replace you with someone that's not an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he likely gets more for being asked to leave after an acquisition than if he just leaves now. Because he gets $300 million if his exit is related to a company takeover.
Yeah.
Because the thought behind that is that you were this great CEO that like increased the value of your company to where someone else wanted to buy it, as opposed to you were this shitty CEO that decreased the value of your company so much that Microsoft said, shit, at that price, it would be dumb not to buy you.
You mean like a CEO who like runs a company into the dirt and then gets canned? Like, is that kind of like...
That's a slightly different scenario, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they'll probably just
except
be hired,
in
like,
Activision's
right
case, they're getting purchased by, in theory, a better company that, again, in theory, because I don't work there, treats its employees better.
Yes.
Certainly sounds like they're doing it.
They don't have a current class action lawsuit.
For anybody that I know that works at Microsoft, it's definitely that. It's definitely an upbeat culture that's like
that's what they want you to
and
believe.
inclusion,
People are
all
beat
that stuff.
saying
Like,
it.
Now go watch the Xbox series.
Every day before
They
leave, they're
talk
like,
about that a little
remember,
bit.
They do, yeah.
I'm not saying it was always like
watching.
that, but that is at least now.
Yeah. No, but
sure.
I mean, the difference is with the Activision buyout, if that goes through, the employees that have suffered a lot, hopefully will be in a better place with the new company.
Yeah.
And
Make it sound like they're
who
dying.
caused the suffering will hopefully get kicked to the curb with as little as possible.
Fingers
It's funny how it
crossed.
takes like months to get, this acquisition maybe to go through, and yet New York Times can buy Wordle in like 4 days and have it like that's their own thing.
Yeah, but Wordle was owned by one man.
Yeah,
It's a
there were
joke.
people
Come
to
on,
consider. And
Jeez, I just wanted to.
And then he
poke
clearly didn't have a monopoly on this, as like 15,000 like knockoffs showed up on the iTunes store and stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm pretty sure because he was also the guy behind. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but it was on Reddit. It's like, so Reddit has like every year on April 1st, they do this weird like experiment kind of thing. But he was the one that did the picture.
On
Like I can't remember what it's
April
called.
Fool's Day?
Yeah, typically. But it was like the pictures. Everybody got to draw like a little pixelated thing, and it became this massive. I'm sorry, no. You had all you got to do was select a color and 1 pixel, and you could place it anywhere on this massive map. But everybody did it and created this massive like mosaic of like all these different things. Like, and it has like a time lapse of like. But anyway, he was the guy behind that, and it's a couple other things. So this was like another cool experiment he did, which he probably knew that he could probably make money off of it because people love words. So he's probably like, you know what? I'm just gonna get paid for this. Like, we'll just do it. Someone will pick it up. So
He did it as a gift to his wife.
You always hoped it.
yeah, to get paid.
I mean,
Sure, that's what he told me.
I mean,
Talk
both
about
of
a
those,
gift to your
both
wife.
of those are gifted. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, anyway, that's what we got for the news this week. Hang tight for just a minute, and we'll listen to a word from our sponsor. And we're back after a really long break. Man, that was long. Felt
Not for those listening on Spotify or
I know it's
Apple
why it's fun.
iTunes. Apple iTunes, leave us a comment or a review. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I found out today. I think I sent this out to you. I know I sent it to you guys, but there was an article today that was posted. I think it was, I don't remember who posted it exactly, but it was about Uber, and that they've finally released the privacy settings where you can actually see your rankings, like your rating. And it was interesting to find out that I have no 1 stars. And
Same.
no 2 stars, no 3 stars. I only have like 1 4-star and the rest are 5s. And I don't know how that's possible. Like knowing myself
Yes.
on the times
So-
that I've used Uber.
Knowing myself,
the real
knowing
MVP.
myself, I was a little surprised that, well, I wasn't surprised to find out that I had 69 rides.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Let's drink for
Oddly.
that.
We had a double scyther.
I was a little surprised though to find out that I did have 1 4-star rating.
Wow.
And it kind of crushed my soul a little bit. The rest were all 5s. But
I was just surprised that I didn't have any 1s.
Look at all of you guys with your only 5 and 4-star reviews.
No, I've got 51 5-star. I've got 1 4-star and 1 3-star.
Yeah, well, I've got 431 5-stars. I don't remember how many 4
that's
stars.
That's a lot of writing.
And 5 1-star reviews, which is
true.
interesting. And I was telling Zycy about this. Well, I guess technically it was in a chat with all of us, but 5 1-star reviews fully tracks with the 5 people I got deactivated off of the app. Because I'm not a shy person when it comes to confrontations. So when those people screwed me over, it wasn't like I was like, oh no, I'm scared of you. I was like, listen, you're dog shit. I'm telling you you're dog shit. And I'm not saying, like, to be clear for anybody else that hears this, it's not like I was like, wow, this person didn't pick me up at my door. It was like, my man was speeding in traffic and rear-ended somebody and then tried to blame the lady he rear-ended. And I was like, nah, fam. Nah. And I threw him under the bus in front of the police. I was like, legitimately like, nah, it was all him. And the guy was pissed. And then I was like, by the way, as I was getting into my new role, I was like, by the way, I'm giving you a 1-star review. You suck. So, like, it was stuff like that.
I would absolutely hate to be on your bad side.
Yeah.
And after, like, hearing your reactions and retellings of stories,
Yep.
I'm confident I've never been on your bad side. And there's probably many situations where I should have been.
Nah, I mean, Mike, maybe. No.
Yeah.
No, it takes a lot to get on my bad side. You have to be like a special kind of either idiot or shitty human being. Like one of the other persons, it was like this old white dude who was super racist while he was driving me to Dragon Con. And I mean, he was driving me, so I didn't want to say anything in the car. But then when we got there, I was like, I want you to know. Because I want you to know why.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% giving you a 1-star review for being a racist piece of shit. And I hope you have a terrible day. And then I closed his car door and walked away.
Oh, man.
It just works.
I did hear that on a news broadcast, they were saying that one thing that Uber and Lyft drivers hate most is when you slam their doors.
Oof.
And
I hate that when people just get in my car, period.
Right,
Yeah. Well, so I have an awful habit. So I drive a really old Jeep. And I have Nerf bars and grid plates on the door frames, right? Or grid plates on the door frame specifically. And because of that, I have to slam my Jeep door shut. Well, I am in this awful habit of slamming doors shut because for 20 years, that's been my life. And I always, every time it happens to somebody else's car, I realize it immediately. And I think, oh God.
So that's why you apologized that time we took you to the show. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, I was sitting there thinking like, damn, she slammed that door.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
So sorry.
I'm just imagining now, like, Kelly getting out of the car and like putting both hands on the door, swinging it all the way open, and slamming it shut.
I'm so good with one hand, but I get my whole body into it.
That's what she said.
Yeah, still no 1-star. Maybe that's why I got the 4-star. Maybe that's why I got the
I'm
4-star.
super. So after I looked mine up, and I was like, I'm not a 1-star. That's really weird. I looked at my actual driver rating, which was actually lower than my regular rating, which was not by much, but I was very surprised on that too. I did drive it a point in my life. And then, so I was like, well, maybe I should check my wife's app because sometimes
Oh, yeah.
I use her app when we're out and about.
I'm totally going to check my husband's app. I'm so curious now.
So I went and checked her app and she only had 7 rides and they were all 5 stars. So I'm like, these people just are just too nice. Like, I've been obliterated in the back seat, and Brian's been there with me. He knows,
Yeah.
well, at least in the back seat, not necessarily
I
obliterated.
had to pull you away from the car so the poor lady could get back to work. As you were outside her driver's side window talking your ear off. I'm like, no, it's you're home. You need to come into the house now.
And then I proceeded to pour shots of tequila that I shouldn't have. But anyway, all right. So
Anejo, good Anejo.
Yeah, I know.
Jackass.
Never done that. Well, let's get into what we've been playing. I just noticed that you timed somebody out in the chat. James sucks has been timed out.
But did you see why?
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. Love
James.
We love you, James.
So I'm going to start this one off with actually Dungleon, because we talked about it last week, and I just wanted to kind of touch on that again. So if you're not familiar, Dungleon is another spin-off of the Wordle style game, which is completely different because there is no letters. This one actually involves little characters like heroes and enemies and there's
treasure
gold and stuff and treasure.
Yeah. Thank you. You were saying it. Sorry.
Yeah, and the idea is that there's still 5 spots, and there's a certain correct pattern of the day, and it changes every day. But Brian had talked about this last week, and what was a little different about this is that there's some different rules. So like one of the rules say, there's always a hero and always an enemy on every map. You're like, okay, cool. Or every pattern. And then there's always what was the other one? It was like there's 2 other things that are like there's always some things that happen, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but it says at the very top, which I missed because when I didn't realize it until after I already saw it, which was, it says, here are 3 of the secret rules we're going to show you, or something like that. Here are some of the secret rules. Well, the secret rules.
Yes.
First of all, there should be
so
secret rules.
Oh no, it's amazing.
It's kind of like the rules are there, like the English language, like I before E except after C. They have some of these placement rules that they kind of hint at.
So
so
this week I took that first rule. It says there's always a hero, there's always an enemy per pattern, and I got to the end of one and I failed, which I'm not very good at this anyway. Like I'm already failing most of these, but I was like, wait a minute, there's no hero. So I'm like, how do I report this? Because they actually messed up. Like there's no hero here. There's not. So I look on their website, or I'll try to go like to the settings and stuff. There's no way to do anything. The only thing it says is like join our Discord. So me jumped on Discord. So I'm going to go check out that.
That's where the magic happens.
So I get on their Discord, and there's a rules and suggestions channel. And everybody there is like, basically, I scrolled all the way to the top because I wanted to go from behind. And I started noticing bad wording, but phrasing. So I started reading that these people have been basically tracking all these secret rules. And I was like, so how did this happen? Like, how did this today happen? So I look at the things from today, or of that day, and the issue was there's always a hero and there's always an enemy. Except one of the secret rules that someone had found out is when there is a necromancer in part of the pattern, they automatically turn the hero into a zombie. So the hero is actually not a regular hero, it's a zombie instead. So I'm like, what? So I start looking back through all these rules, and some of the other rules they figured out were that a hero, if there's a wizard involved or a sorcerer on the good side, then it automatically turns one of the enemies into a frog. So it's like all of these different things, and like the king, when the king's there's always the villager or the knight is in front of him. The archers so far have always been played in the backfield rather than in the front. So there's like all these weird little like secret rules that people are, and it's pretty crazy. The Discord's pretty wild. Like, every day people are taking screenshots and like building on to the set of rules that they believe is true. And like, and the admins there, the guy who made the game, the 3 people that are behind it are there reading this stuff, and they comment every once in a while. But it's funny to watch how people start evolving and trying to figure out the game, and it's pretty neat because like I'm going through it now too, going like, okay. And there's just new things. Apparently there's new characters that hadn't even shown up yet. Like things are going to happen. So it's been a very interesting little game that has now evolved even past what I thought it was initially. So
surprising amount of depth that I wasn't able to fully articulate last week on this. But yeah, and also I had not gone to the dungeon, so I didn't know like the necromancer, zombie, sorcerer, frog thing. Because I did have one of the sorcerer frog ones, but I didn't know that was why. So yeah, that's fascinating, dude.
Yeah, and like another thing, like one of the ones from I think today, there wasn't really anything new discovered. So they're like, so either we didn't discover anything, or we don't know it, or some of our older theories are wrong. So people are in the chat are just like going back and forth, like, oh my god, and it's intense. It's very surprising for me to think like this is a clone off of the Wordle type of game that came out very shortly afterwards, but like they already have so much depth to it. So I'm like, they've already had this idea obviously somewhere, like at least the way the game was going to be created, and they just kind of turned it into a 5 pattern type of thing. So, and
once again, that game is Dungleon, Dungleon.
Yep. I think it's just .com, like Dungleon.com.
Yeah,
and it works the same way as Wordle. You get one every day. And there is hints that they give you and stuff. And again, if you want to know more and try to get into the conspiracy behind the game, go to the Discord they have. When you log in, it shows you there's a Discord link. So,
I mean, honestly, if you're going to get into it now, going to the Discord is the best way to play the game, because you get that extra feedback. And you, because I mean, again, when we're playing Wordle, we know certain things. We know if there's a Q, there's a U after it.
I learned that last week.
And so it's kind of the same thing is just going to the Discord. It's not cheating. It's, you're learning the rules of this language so that you can better guess the words, just
and
like you would do on
with
Wordle.
This one is that it's built off of all of you have to know the knowledge of the previous games for you to continue building the game. So like you would have to kind of go back and see, like people are posting screenshots of like each, like the days that have gone so far, so you can see everything.
Which is why the Discord's important, because then you don't have to like find screenshots of all the last games. I mean, you find the history and you can start. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can kind of see where that rule comes in, and let me test that.
Yep.
And then add on to it too.
I like it when I know the rules. Like,
yeah, this isn't your type of game. I mean, it's, I know it's not like,
but you
like
get to discover the rules, and you get to prove someone else wrong on their rule, that your rule's better.
Hey man, everybody, that's why there's a million of these things. Actually, I sent one to Kelly too. That was a battle royale. There's like multiple people playing at the same time, and you can see them spelling the words at the same time that you are, and you want to be the first. So it's like, she's like, nope, I'm out because too much anxiety. Like I want to take my time and just like look at it. And these people are like competing.
I start it and I get frustrated, and it's actually like a really great way for me to address my own issues, like wanting to get something done super fast and finish it and just be over. And I'm like, I can handle this. And I put it down and I walk away, and then I go, no. And I walk away. And then I have these amazing moments where I'm like, I know the word and it's right. Or I know the word and it's still not right.
I will say today pissed me off. Like I
have not finished yet today. Well, I literally got on just to make sure that still worked.
I literally had like
the two of
3
you
letters.
Brought this back to Wordle.
I know. I had 3 letters in the right place on the first word I guessed, and then I went through every other guess. The second guess I had 4, so I was missing just the 1 letter, and I went through all 6 until the last one to get the word right, because it. Man.
Now I need a 60-second timeout for Mike.
That is frustrating. So, next game that I and also Demiran have been playing, and I think Phoenix actually tried a little bit of it, but is Lost Ark. So I know last week Bruno talked about Lost Ark and how he thinks it's really in the front end of like MMOs and all this stuff, and I was sitting there going like, I don't know if I'm going to play it. I watched him play it. I watched some of the trailer stuff that we showed.
For the uninitiated, Mike does not like MMOs, period. And he's tried them. He isn't like one of those guys that's all hoity-toity snooty and like, oh, I just don't like the concept and it's just bullshit. No, he's actually none of them get him. Like, he loves Skyrim. Wasn't that like, and he played a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online. And it was like, kind of bounced off of it really fast.
Yeah. And New World actually is probably the second, like the closest one that I've played a good bit of. And I mean, good bit. I think I have 30 hours maybe of that game.
Yeah, it's a good bit.
And it got to the point where it just kind of didn't do it for me. But Lost Ark, on the other hand, has, and I'm saying this today, and this will be maybe next week. I'm not playing it. We'll see, because that's just how I am. But right now, I'm invested. So I've literally put a lot of hours in. I'm not going to say how many at this point, but it's too many. But I have started understanding why I like this game. And it's not because it's Diablo-esque, and because I wasn't really a fan of Diablo. I never played Diablo 1 and 2. I really didn't. And 3. Never played them. Just, sorry. Wasn't my thing. But this game is very much like that. Isometric, dungeon crawling, and just blowing stuff up. But the main thing that I'm noticing in this game, off the rip, the first thing was my character feels powerful. So typically when I play with people, I'm always behind because I'm trying to play this game with them and they're already in it. And Bruno basically just carries everything, destroys everything on the screen. And I kind of just walk around and collect stuff. And it's not really that great of a game to me. And I've played, and I'm not saying just Bruno too, like I've also played by myself Path of Exile. I played that for a little bit. And I tried to play by myself and even with some other people on the same level. It just didn't do it for me. But I did say that, sorry, phrasing. So that was the first thing I got. So my character feels powerful, which to me is fun. Like, my powers do things, and it seems exciting. And a point on that. And I think part of the reason why the characters feel powerful is because instead of starting you off with like just a little stick and you got to beat on rats or something, and you're like, oh my God, I learned a skill and now I can do the skill. Oh, great. And then you go over there and you beat on some bigger rats and you got a second. No, they start you off at 6 skills right away. Yeah. With your main weapon. Which is, that's a good point. Of the possible 8 that you can have at a time, you're not capped at 8 skills. You can only have 8 active at a time. They start you off with 6 fairly decent, cool looking skills. And you're not doing massive damage, but it's still, you do cool looking things. So it feels powerful. Yeah. The other thing that I noticed today is, this is the other part of it, why I think I'm liking this a lot better than a lot of other games, is the story to me, and there's mixed reviews on this game. Like, you go look at any game outlet journalism company right now, and one's going to say how Lost Ark is amazing, and the other one's going to say how Lost Ark is just cliche and whatever. And it's just funny because I see both sides. But what, to me, I think the story is pretty entertaining. It's I skip through the normal like quest line stuff, like whatever. But if it's a cutscene or like an important main quest one, I'll listen to it, and like it has decent like voice acting, and the cutscenes and everything are really, really cool to look at. Like, I was even looking at some of the stuff last night. It was like Lord of the Rings, like Helm's Deep or something. Like, it was crazy, like the cinematics that they're having. But the other part that really gets me is what I noticed is that there's a lot of other things in this game that are happening to make you invest like your time, which a lot of people could be like, that's just not my thing. And that's what I don't like about the game. But that's what actually keeps me wanting to play. Because when I play this game and I get burned out, I start moving into the other mini games they have, like collecting these little Monaco seeds, right? Like these little Monoko or whatever they're called.
Makoko.
Makoko. Okay. So, and they're like random little seeds scattered through the world, and they're hidden, and you can only find them by walking over certain areas. So that really helps.
Technically, Bruno corrected him before you did. So
no. Somebody corrected him.
So there's that, and then there was so they're doing that, and then also there's also a completionist like page for each little like continent area that you're on. So like when you beat certain world bosses, there's like so many listed there, and like you're trying to get 100% in that area. And I'm starting to realize, I'm like, all these little things are starting to add up, and then there's like a whole stronghold that you can like. Basically your mobile game where you go there and you like put stuff to research and you can build stuff, and it just takes time and you have to come back, and it's like when you're playing, you come back and then that stuff's ready. But all of this reminds me very much of like Breath of the Wild. of like playing a Zelda game where I'm, on the main quest and I'm doing the main story, doing a lot of stuff, but there's all these other little aspects to the game, collecting things, trying to find stuff that I'm also able to take my time and go do, which to me is really cool. So I think that's kind of why I'm super into this game right now.
Yeah. Obviously, I talked about the game last week, and last week, by the time that we did the podcast, I was already in Endgame.
Which I don't understand how. I don't understand that. I'm 41.
So to kind of give an idea of where I'm at in the game now, I am effectively gear score 1000, which is
too high.
You reach endgame at 200, if that gives you an idea. And I think the max you can get to in the game right now might be 1300. I don't actually know for sure though. The game has so much more content. It just keeps on going. Like the story, I'm still not done.
Oh Jesus!
It's not over. The story just keeps going.
It's insane. Like it's and that's the thing too. There's so much more. Every time you do something else unlocks, and you're like, oh my god.
I specifically was like, I got to another continent. This isn't even a spoiler because you can see it on the map when you open it. It's called Yorn. And I walked in to the map and I was like, this is my favorite map in the game. This is so cool. And I got to the capital and I was like, this is awesome. This is like the coolest thing. The best city in the game. And then I passed that point, completed all the maps, got all the gear that I needed from there, the upgrades, etc. So I was like, okay, it's like your gear score 900 now. Go on to the next area. And I was like, all right, guys. So I got to, I think it's called like Fightin'. Or Fienton, whatever. And then immediately I got there and I was like, well, this is the coolest map I've ever seen. And I'm starting to realize a trend that every time we get further in the game, I feel like they've one-upped themselves on what they did previously. Because when you start in the main area, I was like, this looks great. And then I went to the next map and I was like, this is super cool, which is the one that I said was kind of like Fern Gully. And then I was like, cool, well, let's go to the next one. And I was like, this is like Final Fantasy themed. This is super cool. And it just keeps going. In that kind of rotation, like each place you go to, I feel like they've tried to push themselves beyond what they did before. Yeah. And now I'm at endgame and I'm like, there's towers, like 1v1 towers. Yeah, there's like abyssal raids, which I've now done 4 of. And the mechanics are there's like bosses. That boss right there, actually, that just showed up on stream for me. Purple lady with big horns. She's got like multiple one-shot mechanics. And like pugging that was miserable because people are terrible at playing games. And that means that sometimes when you pug things, you just get stuck with terrible people. So it took like 90 clears to get through all those dungeons combined, which was really bad, or 90 wipes. But like, even when I'm like annoyed, by the time that I'm done with a boss, I'm like, this was so satisfying to beat. The raids continue to get harder and harder. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know that I've seen that. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing on stream right now. But there's like the islands will have their own stories.
It just keeps going.
It just keeps going. Yes. Like there's no end to it. It just feels like it just goes on forever. And the crazy thing was, so all of this stuff, I'm telling you, the endgame mechanics are great if you're someone who really seeks an in-depth endgame that has a lot to do. And especially if you want to reach endgame and you want to be like, I want so much content that I'm overwhelmed with how much stuff there is to do. This game's definitely for you because I don't get overwhelmed with games easily. And I got to endgame and I was like, what do I even do next? I was just like, I gotta re-look up guides because I'm confused. Like, which one of like the 50 islands should I be going to? Should I be doing my tower right now or not? Should I be doing stuff on my alts? Should I be like pushing my guardian raids to completion, or should I just be doing the one that I can do the most effectively first and just calling it a day? What daily should I do? Like abyssal raids, all of this stuff. Cube, which I still haven't done yet. There's like this cube thing.
Well, even this part, like this is part of the game where they had this little itty bitty like green bird bubble thing jumping along in what looked like a platformer coming up to a giant bird.
So I don't think that's actually in the game yet. Where is that footage from?
This is all from the Lost Ark trailer. So some of that could be some of the stuff that was from. So why does a game have this much content already? Well, it's because this game didn't just release. It just released here in North America. This game released December 4th, 2019 in the Asian areas. I think China and Korea and Japan and a couple others. It's been out there for a while, so they've been building this content. And I think Bruno said it quite nicely, I think last week, where he said, their plan is just to keep releasing and releasing and releasing all this content they already have, including the content that they're building, until it just overwhelms the North American audience and they say stop.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with this so far. Like, I'm definitely already seeing that overwhelmingness, right? Like, and it's funny because I'm not even at 50 yet. And apparently with 50 is when things really open up. But what is refreshing is to see a game that, well, for one, is free. for the actual game of all the content that I've been playing. And two, it's like finished and it's polished and there's like so much content. I'm like, man, because like this has already been out. So like all the bugs and stuff have mostly been worked out. I mean, yeah, there's no netcode issues with, us in America trying to figure things out. But, for the most part, like it's a pretty polished game. And I mean, like maybe all games need to do the same thing. Maybe everybody should look at that and give that market a try first, and then bring it over here. And then
their servers
let them
are
get frustrated
crushed.
first for a change.
But it's crazy.
A lot of their negative reviews right now, if you look through Steam, a decent majority of them are coming from their server issues, especially in Europe. Europe has gotten absolutely demolished by their server issues. We got shafted by it the other night before the weekly reset. We were trying to finish out an Abyssal raid, and we wiped at it with the boss having like 10% HP left. I'm like, we got this. Finally, after dying to this woman like 30 times, we're going to kill her. And before we did the pull, this message pops up, and it says the server will shut down in 240 seconds. And I was like, what? So they were having issues. So the way that they have the game developed is they have the instance server, so Abyssal raids, Guardian raids, Tower, all these things have their own shards that you get moved to. And apparently there had been an ongoing issue that sparked in Europe after a hotfix and spread throughout all of their servers that was causing their instance servers, PvP, Guardian, Abyssal, to just like crash or act irregularly. So people would join in and they would lose their weekly lockouts and only be like not be allowed to go back into those things for an entire week. So they were just trying to slam out restarts to mitigate the servers from crashing. And I was like, how great. Well, there goes our opportunity to beat this. Awesome.
Damn. But yeah, if you're interested in this game, Lost Ark, it's free to play. It's not free right now. It's not pay to win. It's free to play. Free content, everything is there. Like I said, a full game with more content than like Bruno's way ahead of me, obviously, and he still said there's more content coming, and he's already playing through, which is wild.
And he's
and even content in the trailer that
he's never seen before.
So really stuff, cool game to check out. Like I said, if you're a slight fan of any of the stuff that I usually talk about, and not to mention, so what did I do the other day? I sent you guys in chat. I sent you screenshots of me chopping my first tree. And then I sent another screenshot of me chopping another tree. And then I sent like the William Dafoe gif of like him in the back seat of the car, like smiling all weird. Mike,
did you know that you can chop a tree down with a friend?
I did. I found that out and it was the coolest thing ever. Aww. You actually, instead of having your axe, you guys take out a saw blade and you guys like saw down the tree. It's so cool.
like old school style. Like,
like one person on each side of the tree. Like,
they even have mushroom trees that you can saw down. No, this thing's great because it's got a ton of content for free. It's cosmetics only, as far as I can tell. And if you do have short attention span, apparently if you play 10 hours, you're all of a sudden going to be in a completely new place with a completely new art set and new design and everything. And
it's not even that. It's also like me being short attention span, right? But there's all these other aspects of the game, like your stronghold, like your crafting, like your, the level completion stuff.
I do want to clarify one thing before, just clear up this misconception before anybody gets into the game and gets really upset that it's actually there. The game actually has a massive pay to progress element that most people would consider, a lot of people would consider pay to win, in the sense that somebody can go in and jack up their gear score to the moon So people can pay thousands of dollars essentially to buy out the entire Mari's Secret Shop pages in order to expedite their gear leveling to like the end of all end games. The reason why nobody in the Japan or Korea or Russia market cares is because the end game content is gated behind these raid bosses that have half a dozen to a dozen one-shot mechanics per boss, multiple additional layered mechanics on it. So it doesn't really matter if somebody buys all the gear because they're going to suck for the most part. And they're going to get there with this amazing gear, but it doesn't matter what your gear score is. It's not going to protect you from a boss that literally AoE kills the entire party if one person screws up the mechanic.
Wow,
And
okay.
it's a really genius move. Whales in games, if you don't know what that means, a whale is someone who has a lot of money and pours it into a game in order to be the best player. Generally want to pour the money in to be the best of the best. And the place where pay to win elements usually come in the worst is when they interact with PvP, right? So like pay to win exists on World of Warcraft in the sense that you can transfer real life currency into gold, and then you can use the gold to buy epics off of the auction house for mythic races and stuff. So nobody really cares about the PvE aspect. With the PvP aspect in Lost Ark, they did a really good job. I almost feel like I don't understand how whales don't realize what's being done to them. All of the PvP modes are completely balanced. They give everybody 1,000 stat points to put in. Everybody builds their character with the same amount of skill points, and all the gear is balanced. Everybody's the same level when you go into PvP, with the exception of one PvP mode, which is called GVG Unbalanced, where a guild of whales could go up against another guild of whales, and they get to use all of the gear they item mold for to kill each other. And it doesn't matter because nobody cares about unbalanced GVG, because there's a balanced GVG where the whales can't contend because a lot of them suck. So it's like, it's a really funny way of handling whales because they get what they want. They get to go and like puff up their $10,000 gear set with their potential lack of skill in these whale versus whale GVGs. And honestly, I can't wait until they release that part of PvP because I so want to watch these like multi-$1,000 characters just murder each other.
We'll just have like stream nights of just watching whales fight.
Also, no one cares because these whales are paying for the game.
Yeah.
They're paying for everybody else to either play free or put in a reasonable amount of money. Because again, I'll say it, if you really get a lot of entertainment out of a game, throwing $30 or $50 or $60 at it is perfectly okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything I want yet, but I'm sure I'll throw some sort of money at it.
There's a ship in the item mall that I kind of want to buy, but also I'm not going to do it because you can watch Twitch, and if you're watching a drop channel for Lost Ark, you get these amethyst crystals that you can buy items that you can only buy with amethyst crystals, and one of them is there's like the ship function in the game. You get a whale for your ship that has torpedo cannons strapped onto it, and that literally becomes your ship. And I'm going to buy that. That's going to be my ship. I'm going to buy.
Could you be a whale with a whale?
Yes.
You could.
You just got to watch enough of like Twitch channels that have drops enabled for
Exhibit shows
I want
to
yo dog ride around the oceans on my vibrant like steel blue whale with a jetpack looking thing and torpedo cannon strapped to the side of it, because who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, really.
I'm gonna ride out like the nightmare pirate ships and go and do my stuff in this whale.
I'm gonna have to stop us for Lost Ark because we've already just murdered this. But Lost Ark is free
Rumbleverse
on Steam. Go check it out.
Rumbleverse, also another free game that is a battle royale. I think it's free. Pretty sure it's free.
I think it's all free.
Yeah. It's a battle royale that is based around the concept of pro wrestling. So all the weapons, basically, it's mostly melee. So you have special melee moves, and you have weapons such as like folding chairs and table legs and things like that. And you are in Grappital City, and you get shot out of a cannon into Grappital City, and you land, and you can pick up things that increase your strength and increase your stamina, and then you learn special moves from books that you find. So you might knock someone out, and they drop a book, and you can pick up that book and learn the special move that they were using against you if you wanted to. And it controls really well on a controller. You get a dash mechanic, which is really nice, a dodge mechanic, and a blocking mechanic.
By the way, you knew all this because you attended the playtest, right?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So,
sorry.
And you can learn it from the website too. You got your basic attack, and then you got a heavy attack, and then you got 2 special moves, I think, on the bumpers. And then I think you have your ultra that you build up for as well. So what I had reported previously is that they were going to have a play test the 12th and they were going to release the 15th. That's because I read the announcement wrong. The announcement was they were going to have a network play test on the 12th, and they were not going to release on the 15th like previously said. So I totally misread that. But they did have a play test of the 12th. It ended up only being 12 hours. In fact, by the time that Mike finally decided he wanted to play, it was over.
Yeah. It was like, unfortunately, come back later. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah. And I kind of accidentally got in the right time because I got about an hour's worth of play. Let me tell you, the people I was playing with had clearly been in previous play tests.
Oh.
It's very cartoony, and I love the character draw style and everything. It's really neat. They've got a lot of outfits that you can you start with a lot of outfits you can play with too. You don't start with just a single outfit, then you got to earn others. It's nuanced. For as cartoony as it looks, it is not like just this easy button mashing game. There's some skill involved in it. Especially since you could do an elbow drop off the top of a building and come down and smack 2 people for a whole bunch of damage. But because you jumped off of a building, you also take damage.
Okay.
And your damage recharges, but it doesn't recharge if you're taking hits. So, and there's a lot of timing to things. In fact, the timing can be so precise that if you do an attack against an opponent at the exact same time and same power as the attack they're doing against you, it's called a clash. You just kind of bounce off of each other. So if you both do your heavy attack at the same time, you'll bounce off. So I was playing it and I was like, ooh, boy, I don't know about this control scheme. I'm not quite used to it yet. And I'm still trying to figure out what to do. But it was very entertaining. And if you like a technical game, it's a technical action game, I would highly recommend this. It's not out yet. They don't have an announced time yet, but check Rumbleverse. If you just Google Rumbleverse, it's real easy to find it because ain't nothing else called that pretty much.
Metaverse.
And I think they're trying to, I think they're shooting for a Q2 release, but I'm not sure on that because they haven't made a full announcement yet. So
nice. Well, cool.
James, let's check it out. It's his favorite sport.
That is our what we've been playing for this week. And that kind of wraps up most of our stuff today. So emails, if you want to send us an email. Actually, one thing I do want to mention is if you notice, if you're watching the podcast, I'm wearing a SAS gaming shirt. Let me know if you're interested in one of these. If we get enough, what do you call it? Enough noise, I guess.
It's called interest.
Interest, that's the word I was looking for. I'm not even drinking
noise.
Tonight.
Noise was a good one.
Maybe I need to drink more.
I think that's always
if you have enough. If you have enough interest, we'll maybe get these. I've actually ordered for myself. I've got a shirt. I've got a hoodie. I've got a mask. We can make pretty much anything you want. So keychains, phone covers. I mean, whatever. If you're interested in that, let us know. Send us an email or even hit us up in the Discord and we can check that out. So that is what got our attention this week. If you're interested in learning more about us, check out sasgaming.com. where you can find some of our blog posts, reviews, and other information coming up, along with our podcast links and eventually YouTube videos and such from different plays. And if you want to sponsor us in any way and give us a little extra little more on the side, you can check out the Patreon. So patreon.com/sassgaming as well, where you can also get our podcast uncensored and unedited, in the sense that you also get the intermission that if you're listening to the podcast, you don't get to typically get that unless you watch live. But if you get the Patreon, you'll be able to do that as well. So, and there's a couple other perks that come with that, like credits at the end of our podcast and things like that. So
and that's us talking at the intermission. You're not listening to an actual commercial.
Yes, exactly. So that's basically it. And until next week, that's all we got. And we'll see you guys Tuesday, I guess, for those who want to join us for trivia.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Have a good week. Take care.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.